to that product. So I guess that's another point. It's a delicate balance now because the market is on a daily basis so heavily traded by speculators and these short-term, very short duration traders. There's a fine line. The price, their capture of revenues traded, they may make 200 trades in that product within, a minute to make 5 cents. Like they're trading so fast and furiously, and a lot of times they're just scratching the trade, but their models are so quick that they're able to capture, their profitability is very small for the amount of times that they trade. But if their price is cheap enough, they're still profitable. If the exchange changes the pricing model for any of the inputs or raises their exchange fee to trade that product by, even a penny, that can throw the whole model off, and that big player will move on to a different product. Does that make sense? So it's a very precarious model. The exchanges they certainly have pricing power, but they also they can't really go crazy with it, because then some of their big players, if that changes their equation, it's a delicate balance. So overall profitability of all firms, I think, as the markets have just gotten much more efficient, there's less profit in every trade. I mean, we all know that, less volatility, et cetera. So the pricing inputs become a delicate balance. So the exchanges have to be careful there. I'm trying to think. I've been doing all the talking. Please ask me questions if there's any topics that, I'm going off the top of my head, but any topics that I can elaborate on or that we haven't touched upon.
Sure. If I may, given what you just said about pricing power of exchanges and how basically the efficiency of the market has reduced their price setting power, I wanted to ask, what's your view in terms of data from a price setting point? Do you think that they reached already all their customers? How much are customers willing to pay for this live data, and what's the potential implication of regulation ahead?
Oh, sure. Well, we can see, obviously, most recently, ICE's data forecasts, where the sky was the limit. I think those are being peeled back each quarter, right? They were expecting, I think, 7-8% growth, and they're achieving 5 or 6. So has the market become saturated on the ICE side? Possibly and probably. And does that mean, I think that initially when they first put out these fees, that knocked a lot of players out of the market, or that was your livelihood. You traded it. You just had to suck it up and factor in those costs. Now I think it's kind of leveled off because it's been a couple years. So it's knocked the players out of the market who it's going to knock out of. Those who can endure those fees have endured those fees. So on the ICE side, it's somewhat saturated for the products. The CME has not charged. First off, their monthly charge is lower. They've raised it recently, but it's still lower than the ICE's data feeds. So they've got room to grow there. The other thing, as I said, as the exchanges develop these new products and more indices that are products that appeal to asset managers